Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Jiyan, to where he's a simple yet complex character, to where if he's fully mastered, he can reach the power levels of Jinshi. So let's quickly discuss his kit. So Jiyan's kit mainly revolves around his ultimate, or Resonance Liberation, which is further empowered by his Forte circuit. That is why these two skills are the main things that you want to level. But essentially, when he casts his ultimate, you want to make sure that his bar is halfway full, that way you can cast a stronger form of his ultimate. If he does not have his bar halfway full, his ultimate will look like this. But if it is filled more than halfway, then his ultimate will look like this, to where he will do a huge hit at the enemy, causing massive damage. This is something that you want to keep in mind when doing your rotation. And the easiest way to activate this is to intro in on Jiyan. So now that you know that his main source of damage is through his ultimate, you mainly just want to gather as many buffs as you can before casting it. Number 1, you want to make sure you have at least half the resolve bar filled. 2, you want to make sure that you cast his Echo within 15 seconds before casting the ultimate, and you cast all of your support skills and liberations, as well as their echoes, boosting his damage even further. So let's go ahead and show a simple rotation. So you want to start off by getting on Shorekeeper, and you want to do 5 basic attacks, and then you want to do a jump into a basic attack. Then you want to do another 5 basic attacks and do another jump attack. Then you want to cast her skill into her Echo and then cast her Liberation. This should give you enough Concerto to where you're able to intro into Mortefi, to where you want to cast his skill, switch to Jiyan, cast his skill into his Echo, then switch back to Mortefi and cast his Liberation, and then you want a basic attack until you have full Concerto. Then you want to cast his Echo and intro into Jiyan, then casting his Liberation and holding down Hold attack until his Liberation runs out. And you want to also cast skill as much as you can while in the Liberation form. And then you should be able to intro into Shorekeeper, starting the rotation once again. But this will allow you to get some extra Concertos, so you won't need to do as many basic attacks. Alright, so now that we know how to play Jiyan, let's go ahead and dive into his build as well as his ideal teammates. Starting with its Echo set. So Jiyan's going to want the Sierra Gale because it gives massive arrow damage. On top of that, the main boss monster that you're going to want is the Monkey Boss, due to the fact that it also greatly increases the arrow damage for 15 seconds. For his 3 cost echoes, you're going to want arrow damage, but you could consider getting an attack echo if you have a signature weapon. And 1 cost, of course, you're going to want attack. Now, when it comes to his stats, I recommend that you get at least 120% energy recharge, but it could be slightly lower depending on how well you do your rotation. But the less energy recharge you have, the harder it will be to get into your ultimate, which is the main source of his damage. But besides that, you're going to pretty much want a 2-to-1 ratio with crit rate and crit damage, with crit damage being a slightly higher priority because he does so many hits in his ultimate. Other damage bonuses that are good for him is heavy attack damage bonus, bringing us to the weapons, to where his signature weapon is his best weapon, to where it gives a massive crit damage stat, it increases the damage attribute, and it gives a massive damage bonus to heavy attack damage. The second best weapon would be Jinshi's signature weapon, to where basically it's just a stat stick giving crit rate, which is still nice for him, but the passive is not that great for him. And lastly, I would say Autumn Trace, to where you can get from the battle pass, to where it does give you crit rate and it increases his attack, but clearly these won't be as good as the other 5-star weapons. And as I said earlier in the video, the main skills that you want to prioritize are his Forte circuit and his Resonance Liberation, because these are the main ways that he's doing damage. And lastly, let's look at his sequences. Now, sequence 1 is not something you necessarily need, especially if you're doing the rotation properly. Sequence 2 is not bad, to where it will help you get into your ultimate much easier, and it does give an attack boost, but this is something that you don't have to have. Sequence 3 is very good because it is increasing his crit rate as well as his crit damage. Sequence 4 is not really that great because it's only increasing heavy attack damage bonus for the team, and no one really benefits from this except for Mortefi. Sequence 5 is an attack increase for Jiyan, and Sequence 6 is really powerful, allowing that first hit from your ultimate to do a lot of damage. So next, let's talk about his ideal teammate, and that is Mortefi. This is due to 2 reasons. 1, due to his Resonance Liberation, to where he's going to be able to do coordinated attacks every time the main character does basic attacks and heavy attacks. And 2, when he outros into Jiyan, he gets a massive heavy attack damage buff, which Jiyan greatly appreciates. And if you're able to get your Mortefi to sequence 4, his Resonance Liberation will last even longer. Besides that, you basically just need any healer, so that way you can take advantage of the Rejuvenating Glow set, which is going to increase the attack of all your teammates, as well as the new Boss Echo, Fallacy of No Return, which is also going to increase the attack of every teammate as well. In this video, I use Shorekeeper, but Verena, or someone like Bahzi, could easily take her spot, but Shorekeeper is the strongest healer in the game so far. But with that, that should be everything that you need to know about Jiyan, but if you're considering pulling, here's a few things to know. If you already have Jiyan on your your account and you're considering getting some sequences and you don't have his signature weapon, I strongly suggest you get his signature weapon because that's going to be his biggest boost in damage. Also, you might want to go ahead and take a look and see how strong your Mortefi is on your account, because I would not underestimate how powerful those coordinated attacks are. But granted, you can't just use them as a heavy attack damage buffer. And I do want to go ahead and point out energy recharge. If you're not doing the rotation properly, it will probably feel like you're having a really tough time getting into his ultimate, to where you're going to feel that you're going to need more energy recharge. But if you get too much energy recharge, your Jiyan won't really be doing that much damage. So you do need to take the time to learn how to do the rotation. Due to that, some people may prefer main DPSs like Jinshi, which has a very simple rotation, or Changli, which everyone got for free. Another thing to consider is that we are getting Camellia after this banner, to where she is similar to Jiyan, to where most of her kit revolves around basic attacks instead of heavy attacks. But she's not dependent on her Resonance Liberation like Jiyan is. You really just need to cast her skill to do most of her damage, meaning that she would be less dependent on energy recharge than Jiyan. So her ideal teammate is most likely Sanhua, due to the fact that her outro massively increases basic attack damage. So with all this, she could be easier to use than Jiyan, but I will have a quick guide discussing everything that you need to know about her when she comes out. But if you enjoy Jiyan's aesthetic and you're willing to put in the work to master him, he will be a powerful character on your account. So let me know down in the comments, are you pulling for him? Or are you waiting for those future characters? But other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.